What's up, duelist? I just wanted to make a quick format discussion video before RRC Maryland this coming weekend. I'll be there. I'm very excited. I haven't really played since LDS Raleigh. Yeah, so the format is like basically wide open at this point. We saw Machina Dragons top the last event. We saw Gravekeepers almost topped, I believe. And we keep seeing Twilight do well, Nitro value, stuff like that. Yeah, basically, you can do well with any deck if you know the deck well enough. But in my personal opinion, Froggo TK is hands down the best deck in the format. You don't understand unless you actually sit down and play this deck. The power level of this deck just wipes the floor with everything else by far. It's very consistent. It doesn't brick as much as you think it does. It is hard to play. It is probably the hardest deck to play. But yeah, the payoff is insane. I think this is going to be like format defining the more that players get better with this deck. But people are still going to play what they want to play. They're going to play Black Wings, they're going to play Value. And it makes sense. I mean, people don't like to change. They want to play what they've always played, what they're comfortable with. It makes sense. For me, I try to adapt and play what I think is the best deck. It's just the learning part of this deck takes a lot. You have to practice a lot with it. There are a lot of lines. It gets like a lot of lines are simple, but it does get confusing. The more you play with it, the more you'll understand how it works. Yeah, I think this is going to be a scary deck. I do expect at least one to top Maryland, so be prepared for it. Let's see, value. Yeah, there's not much to say about value. It's like what 1/3 of the players play value, and it makes sense. People prefer it over Nitro because the Raikou gives you the luck factor of milling, pieces, whereas Nitro can't really do that. Also, Raikou is an out to problematic cards like Consecrated, so that makes sense. I do think regular value has a slight edge, but Nitro has a little bit more gas, I think. I don't know, it's really up to the player. Most people prefer regular though. Twilight is a deck that's, is seeing a lot of success. I think it's going to keep doing well. I think the list is pretty standard at this point, and it's just a good deck. As long as you don't brick, if you draw well, mill well, get lucky, you'll do well. The thing I hate about this deck is that you do have to get lucky with your mills. I don't really like that. And Wolf is so bad in your hand. Like, you can just draw awful with this deck sometimes. But we've seen it have a lot of success. It is fairly consistent. It does its thing. It's a good deck, and you gotta be prepared for it. So, yeah. Another deck that I think people sleep on, or, I think it's underplayed, is Machina Control. We saw there was some guy that topped a recent event with Cat and Airbellum in his build, and I've been testing it out, and it's actually so good. It gives you another bomb, it gives you synchro plays, and yeah, it's actually just so good, because if you set right Hamster, and then they attack it, you get your Raikou. Raikou clears the way for Airbellum to get a direct attack to take a card out of their hand, and then you can synchro for like a 5 or a 7, whatever. It gives you a way to kind of get those dead Raikos off the field and give you a nice synchro. Also, just catting. Cat also just makes your pots even better, because then Cat plus Airbell and Raiko is already 3 cards for pot. And then the synchro that you make, so that's 4. So it makes your pot more alive. It's just another bomb. It's a really good null summon. Yeah, I think it's solid. This is a fun deck. It's always evolving a little bit here and there. And I think it has a lot of potential. It is slow into Frogs. I think Frogs is the worst matchup. Which is why they side like Haikus and Rugs. But, yeah. Fun deck. It's very interesting. Yeah, Hero Frogs is just, it does its thing. It's always going to be one of the big 3. You know, it does its thing. You have Kaiash, you have Miracle. There's not much to say there. Moving on. I mean, if you're not, like, confident with the Frog OTK, then you play this deck, right? And then Blackwing, same thing. It's one of the big 3. It's always going to be good. People like tweak it slightly here and there with maybe a Road, maybe a 7 Tools, Book of Moon. You can main deck Devi, some people don't. I think deck Devi is really good in this deck. I think I would main 1. I just don't like siding it. I would just main 1. That's just me. But this is always going to be like half the room. So you always have to be prepared to play against this deck. It's always going to top. It's always going to do well. I mean, when you think about Edison format, I think about Blackwings and Vayu and Frogs. So, and then some people are messing around with the hybrid version. It's seen some success. I think it's okay. I think it still needs work. It has a lot of potential. I do see the power of this deck. It has like a lot more OTK potential. I think it can be improved. We'll see. We'll see in what the future holds for this deck. What else? Gladiator Beast. So my thing on Glads is if Frogs start becoming like the best deck and everybody's just playing Frogs, then Gladiator actually is going to become the best deck, because it just auto, like 90% of the time you can auto win against Frogs if you draw well. That's just my opinion, but obviously like Frogs can just draw gas. They can outgas you sometimes. That's going to happen. But if you go first and you have like just a good setup against Frogs, you'll probably win. It has such a favorable matchup. That's my thing on this deck. It had like, you have kind of a bad Blackwing matchup depending on if you go first or second, right? Depending on your hand. I think this deck struggles. Like for me personally, I played it at LDS Raleigh and I lost like 2 or 3 games just because I opened all traps, or there was one hand with all monsters. That's what really turns me off on this deck, because like you need to play, like I think you need to play all these cards. I think these are fantastic. If you start slimming down to like 40, you're going to draw too many monsters, and you're not going to see like your crew. Like if you cut a trap summon, you really need this card to win. You need this card to go off in this deck. So it's like, the deck has flaws. It is fragile. I really love this deck. I want it to be like, I want to play this deck, but I'm just scared to draw those awful hands. It feels gross sometimes. That's just my opinion. Maybe I don't shuffle well enough. I don't know. I just draw really bad with this deck. And even when you open like a Gladiator and a bunch of traps, it feels good, but at the same time, you're so scared because you have to protect that one gladiator with your life, because if you lose it, you could potentially just be out of the game and not see another monster. That can happen. So, like, the deck is just too fragile for me, in my opinion. But like I said, if frogs become more popular, I think this is like the perfect counter for that. So there's that. And yeah, so like I said, I think Frog OTK is the best deck, best engine in the game. I think it's more consistent than Dragon Turbo. I think it's essentially doing the same thing as Dragon Turbo. You're putting out like a bunch of damage, right? Trying to OTK. This deck can easily do 8,000-9,000 damage in one turn. Or you can just Colossal Arm. It's pretty easy to do. I think that people are scared to play this deck. It's not that hard to learn. Like, if I can learn it, anybody can learn this deck. I'm nobody. Like, I've topped a few events here and there. I don't get to play as much as I would like. I have kids. It's very hard for me. I don't live in a major city, so I don't have anyone to really like practice with, and I hate playing online. I just don't like it. I'd much rather play in person. My locals doesn't really play Yu-Gi-Oh, so it's hard for me to like find the time to actually play this game. But yeah, this is like I love Yu-Gi-Oh. This is my favorite hobby. I wish I could play more. But yeah, if I can learn this deck, anybody can. This deck is insane. I don't care what anyone says. You can hate it. I was never a frog player until I started like messing around with this deck, and now I think it's the best deck. It just wiped like every other deck in the format feels so slow compared to this deck. You have to play it to understand the power level. It doesn't brick as much as you think. Even if you open like double Dez, as long as you see a Moray, you're good. Like, dupe is also like it's a like, yeah, you don't want to draw multiple, but if anything, it's a decent starter. If you don't have sub or swap, this is also not a bad starter, because it makes your opponent play awkward. People just like freak out when they see a dupe frog, and they're trying to make it miss timing and stuff. So like, especially when you have two, like, it just makes people play so awkward, and they have to waste resources to get rid of it. So this is such a good card. This deck is really good. It's resilient. And then the conversion side just throws people off, right? So, I don't know. I think it's the best deck in the game. I think people just need more practice with it. It hasn't seen a lot of results lately, and I think either people are misplaying or not enough people are playing the deck, basically, is what it is. I think not that many people enter tournaments with this deck. That's why it's not seeing that many tops. I think in the future, though, people will realize that this deck is bonkers. Like, this literally feels like Teledad. Like, I don't know what to tell you. This deck feels like modern Yu-Gi-Oh! Like, I don't know any other way to explain it. The speed, it just outspeeds everything. But yeah. It also, it can outgrind every deck. Like, you can just, even if you can't OTK, you're not always going to OTK your opponent. And that's fine, because you can literally you can just slowly eat away at your opponent's resources with Unifrog, Flip-Flop, Avarice you're just going to keep plussing with that Salvage and Avarice. You're just going to keep plussing. And then you have these bombs that just sweeps, just steal the game. I don't know, the deck is just super grindy, super fast. Sub not being once per turn was Konami's worst mistake. Like, this card, there's a reason this card got banned. Also, Fishboard, not once per turn. Like, do you understand how broken that is? These cards are not once per turn. So, it's just insane. There's just too many loops. It's too easy to put out big damage with this deck. Um, but yeah, that's it for this video. I just wanted to talk about the current state of the metagame. And yeah, have fun, duelists. I'll see you at Maryland. Peace.